Hello and welcome to Pompey Talk in partnership with Jan Lee. My name is Mark McMahon and join me in the studio today to discuss all things Pompey is new sports writer Jordan Cross. Jordy, there's only one place to start and that has to be Notts County. 4-0, what a great performance.
Yeah, it was a real fillip, wasn't it? A real boost. Kind of had to you get to that stage where you're wondering where it was going to arrive from, that spark of inspiration. A decent start and then it kind of plateaued somewhat. Notts County very limited in what they brought to the table, tried to get amongst Pompey, hassle, harry, kick, antagonise, and it was getting very spiky actually. So it was a big plus to see Karl Bennett step up and deliver what you expect him to deliver, that flash of inspiration. It was a real insight into what the lad's capable of, and we all know he hasn't always consistently hit the highs this season. There's been some ups and downs and flashes of what he can do from the opening day against Dagenham. But the way he burned off the fullback for the first goal, hit the byline and got a slight benefit of it going through the keeper, which showed, got everyone on their feet. And again, at the start of the second half, you're waiting for that killer second goal to make it a comfortable afternoon. The ball goes into the box, flashes across the box, and Adam McGurk misses a header. He really should have stuck away. But we had to wait no more than a couple more minutes for a classy through ball from Gary Roberts. And a well-taken second from Bennett. So really set it on the way to a comfortable afternoon. And we're all sitting there writing our match reports about Bennett and the 2-0 win, and then Pompey go and stick another couple of goals away in the last few minutes and make it a rewrite for us. So, but we wouldn't moan about that at all. Christian Burgess with his first for the goal and just showed the hunger from the cross there to really want the ball more than anyone else. And there was talk of a ricochet there. We were debating who it came off, but Christian Burgess's goal, without a shadow of a doubt, no one's taken that away from him. Yeah. And then Mark McNulty, showing why he's the top marksman.
It's nice to see him pop up with a goal.
Yeah, I mean, kind of Mark's my favourite attacking option for Pompey. So yeah, I'd have him in the starting 11. But Michael Smith's been getting not some flack, but I mean, probably he's an acquired taste for some people because he's not got the excitement necessarily that McNulty brings to the table, or kind of Chaplin, that real burst of pace. But he brings something different, and he was up there with the best performers for me. Obviously, you would give Karl Bennett the man of the match, but Michael Smith really had a running battle with their defence. Hayden Hollis there is...
he's a Pompey fan,
He's a Pompey fan, yes. Notts County lad. How he got away of not conceding the penalty, the most nailed-on penalty in the first few minutes. He absolutely mullered Ben Davies. But all their defence were getting stuck into Smith, and the referee was very poor. I mean, it kind of became inconsequential in the end, but he was equally poor for both sides. And every decision, you just kind of thought it was going to go one way, and he gave it the other, and that included largely the kicking that Michael Smith was getting. Took the lumps, got on with it, held the ball up, brought others into play, and quite rightly deserved his ovation when he came off.
You was watching Paul Cook on the sidelines on Friday. He was loving it, all smiles, enjoyed what he was seeing. But there must be some frustration there that why they can't do this on a regular basis. Tell
of the season, isn't it? Yeah. That we know that's the case. Paul Cook really looking at the reasons for that in the build-up to the game, and he talks about the street fighting attitude, the rough, tough ability to deal with different problems presenting, and Pompey being smart enough in games to do that. Now, what he's talking about also is the kind of the moments in the game when they have to adapt their way they play for 5-10 minutes, not consistently his philosophy, but when there's certain issues presented, like Pompey going through the middle, they're not there's a congested middle of the park against Newport County. Pompey were continually trying to go through the middle, not being savage enough to okay, let's get those wingers out, hold the wide areas and get the ball around the side, without necessarily being needing coaching to do that. I mean, Paul Cook said, I could have had a time-out in his games, and a lot of managers do it. You hear about Gary Neville talking about it in Valencia as well. He can see quickly how the game's panning out, but you're it's impossible to really get the message across until you reconvene. And your players have to be savvy enough to kind of take some of that amongst themselves and be able to control that. So that's one of the issues with the inconsistency for Paul Cook. But we'll move on now. 8 games to go. After the cancellation or the postponement on Monday, and see if they can find that consistency that's been missing.
Could that postponement be to the benefit of Pompey? They know what the other teams have done, obviously, yesterday. It gives them time to regroup again and focus more on that game rather than a couple of days after a win against Notts County.
Having seen the other results, you would say possibly so. If the game had taken place yesterday, you would have thought it would have been a lottery given the conditions of the Kings Meadow pitch. It looked very heavy, very waterlogged, and it wouldn't have suited Pompey's game. You would probably argue it would have been more beneficial to Wimbledon than Pompey. So yeah, I mean, you look at that and where the game will now fall into place. Pompey will try and have their influence on that, but the league rules are very clear that it has to be replayed at the earliest opportunity, which we're looking at the fixture would be with no midweek games coming up for AFC Wimbledon next Tuesday. So you would look at a home game with Carlisle and then a relatively near trip to Dagenham to fit in around that one. That would probably be the ideal time for Pompey to get that game on, get it played, hopefully build some momentum off the back of results. With the game in hand, they will now go down to 5 points to the top 3 if they were to win that. You know, with the Hartley, the York's away games and such like on the horizon, you wouldn't want it kind of to fall into that week ideally with the travelling involved. So I think next Tuesday would be the best time to play that, and Pompey can regroup. I don't think they really lose any momentum. If they lost, drop points against Notts County, you'd be wanting to get the game out of the system. But there's a good feel about the place. The training ground's going to be bright and breezy, so no major problem with that. I can see that working out possibly in Pompey's favour.
Okay, and you mentioned then the results yesterday. They all went Pompey's way.
Well, not all of them, but I mean, largely you would certainly take the results that unfolded. Bristol Rovers on such flying form on that winning run. They go and get turned over, so that sees them fall out of the automatic promotion places. Now, quietly, I think Pompey are looking at them as being the main rival now. I think they would never say this on the record and don't expect it to be the case, but I think people have been looking at Plymouth as maybe the team that would drop off, and Bristol Rovers would be the team that go on, and they've certainly been showing that form. The Pompey fans that have seen the Bristol Rovers games may disagree because Pompey have been quite good against them, but they've been able to bank those runs, groups of winning runs together, and if you look at their running, it's easily the easiest run of all Pompey's rivals. So heartening that they drop points. Of course, there was other Oxford as well, at 0-0 against Cambridge. Apparently, Cambridge had the better of the chances in the first half there. And Leyton Orient, that was a surprise that they got turned over by Hartlepool. So, I mean, that solidifies Pompey in terms of the playoffs. Win the game in hand, they go down to 5 points to the automatics. As we keep saying, and I had a chat with Mark Catlin yesterday, you've got to look like you're doing it yourself. And Danny Hollins has said that in the news in a really good, honest interview. We will naturally look at the other results and the permutations, but you've got to go out and Paul Cook echoed it last week. You've got to give the fans and themselves the conviction that they can go and do that. So that was certainly more the case at Notts County, and now hopefully we can build on that with the games coming up.
Okay, well, we're both looking forward then to the Carlisle game. That's on Saturday. We'll be back before then. We'll see you all again soon. Goodbye.